President Trump steering clear of politics in his Salute to America 4th of July event yesterday on the National Mall.
Today we come together as one nation with this very special Salute to America. We celebrate our history, our people, and the heroes who proudly defend our flag, the brave men and women of the United States military. As we gather this evening, in the joy of freedom, we remember that all share a truly extraordinary heritage. Together, we are part of one of the greatest stories ever told, the story of America. It is the chronicle of brave citizens who never give up on the dream of a better and brighter future. To this day, that spirit runs through the veins of every American patriot. It lives on in each and every one of you here today. It is the spirit, daring and defiance, excellence and adventure, courage and confidence, loyalty and love that built this country into the most exceptional nation in the history of the world. And our nation is stronger today than it ever was before. For Americans, nothing is impossible.
A Washington Post op-ed writer praised the president, saying, quote, Trump made his critics look small during the Salute to America, unquote. But 2020 Democrats, they still had some harsh words for the event.
I think we need money to go into affordable housing. I think we need money to go into rebuilding our infrastructure. I'm not quite sure that we need money to go into put tanks in downtown Washington, D.C.
Donald Trump is handing out tickets to his big donors. That's a campaign event. And if he's going to do a campaign event, then it should be paid for by his campaign contributions. It should not be paid for by the American taxpayer.
But I felt like I was having a spiritual experience, and I think if you were an American watching this, and it didn't matter how you felt about the president before this speech, it was beautiful. It was incredible. And the critics that you saw there, the Democrats saying, oh, he's just doing this for himself. He's throwing himself a parade. He didn't say anything about himself. He spoke about decorated military veterans. He talked about astronauts. He talked about civil rights leaders. He talked about American exceptionalism. He put politics aside for this. I was impressed. You remember when he was on the campaign trail in 2016 and he said, I'm going to be so presidential when I want to be. I'm going to be boring. Well, he wasn't boring, but he was certainly presidential. He left his slings and arrows for a campaign rally on another day at another time and place. And I thought it was very appropriate and had the perfect tone.
Well, I think that his critics looked pretty dumb yesterday. All of them that said that this was going to be a Trump campaign rally. Have y'all been to a Trump campaign rally? That was nothing like a Trump campaign rally. They talk about multiple things. The crowd is much rowdier when it comes to and Trump talks a lot about himself and not America and his greatness as well. And I think the president showed that he was willing to put politics aside and talk about what's best for the country and how to move forward. A lot of people said that it was boring because he gave a history lesson. I think it's important that we remember our history so we don't repeat it as well. There were some critics that talked about the military and the president flexing when it came to showing our great military. Look, this is a president that has been very restrained when it comes to military force. So if he wants to flex to show the world this is how you defend freedom, this is what we have to offer, I think that is to be applauded instead of sending our military into harm's way.
What do you say to that?
Well, you know, I think that when you win the presidency, there are benefits to that, right? You also invite people to the White House who've supported you and are your supporters. That's part of the natural process here. The National Park Service, I think we had an estimate of about $2 to $2.5 million. Nobody was clutching their pearls in 2016 when the National Park Service spent $30 million for their own 100-year anniversary. And, you know, but I think all of that's a distraction. I think what you've got here are, and when they were worrying about the president talking about himself, there's only one group of people talking constantly about Donald Trump, and it's the Democrats. He is still in the building mode. He has condominiums in their head, and it's the most affordable living situation. Bernie Sanders wants affordable living. He's living in their heads for free. There is no rent. So this is, I think there's a lot of projection going on. He is the center of their universe. You may disagree with this, but you have to admit, they think they're going to win the presidency based on obsessing about Donald Trump. And as they do, and this is like maybe you've even been changed a little bit about with what happened yesterday, they're afraid that as the American people watch something like that, people are transformed and realize that they've been lied to for the last 3 years about this man.
Oh, you think it really would persuade people who were not pro-Trump?
I think so, because we've already seen it.
You know what, John? Let's just go beyond politics for a second. What did you think as a cultural critic about the event? Was it something that you enjoyed?
So, our military, the men and women that serve in our military, are not Democrats or not Republicans or not independents. They're everybody that serves in the military. So I think, honestly, the president did a great service to the military in respecting that fact and not going into a partisan angle when he was talking. I watched the entire thing.
Right.
And I kept waiting for him to, go hard to his base or whatever, and he never did it. I mean, I heard everybody from Jackie Robinson to John Glenn talked about in these speeches, and even for me, these names start coming up, and you remember these powerful, powerful Americans and entrepreneurs and great talents that could only have succeeded like that had they lived in our country and had a military as strong as ours to protect their right to become great baseball players or astronauts or actors or all the great people he was naming. So I thought he did a great job by staying right on the message. And to me, it was almost like a history lesson, a refresher course, going through every single branch of the military, pointing out great people that did great things. And then here comes the actual hardware flying right over the top of the Washington Monument. You're like, wow. I mean, I think for Americans, for me, it was a moment of pride to see all of that come together in one moment. And also, I think around the world, they're watching that going, yeah, they've got a lot of, America is no joke. And look at how our principals of this country have developed so many incredible Americans. We invented rock and roll. We invented country music. We invented R&B. We invented the automobile. All the things he started reminding us of. Yes, it reminds you of how great our country is, and it's great because it's free.